Ever get that feeling, like you're scrolling through social media and everyone else seems to be absolutely smashing it,
Oh, yeah.
and you just go, well, maybe still trying to figure out the perfect recipe for instant noodles.
In there. Or you have these huge ambitions, but the bank balance just isn't playing ball.
Exactly. Well, today we're going to dive into a book that offers maybe a different path,
Mm.
a way to get, well, more.
And the really wild thing, it was written way, way back in 1910.
I know. It's like
Mhm.
this old treasure map that got lost and then found again, supposedly packed with some seriously timeless ideas about getting, well, the title says it all, rich.
That's the one. We're doing a deep dive into Wallace D. Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich. But hang on, before anyone tunes out thinking it's just like old school finance, it's really not. Wattles is talking about a whole approach to life, to creating abundance.
He calls it a science, right?
Exactly, a science. And it goes way beyond just cash. It's about a fuller life, a richer existence in every sense.
Right. And look, we know you listeners are busy juggling a million things. So our plan today is to, cut straight to the good stuff.
Get to the core principles you can actually think about using.
Yeah, think of this as your kind of Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Your shortcut to Waddle's main ideas. Hopefully you'll get a few of those aha moments.
Maybe even that forehead slap moment.
Totally. We're breaking down 3 big insights from the book, and honestly, some of this stuff might challenge what you think you know about wealth.
Definitely. And maybe let's set the stage with a quote, right from chapter 1.
Ooh, good idea. Hit me.
Okay. No man can rise to his greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money.
Whoa. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds a bit intense, maybe a little materialistic on first listen.
It can sound that way, yeah. But I think what Wattles is really driving at is that, financial well-being gives you the means, the resources to actually develop your talents fully.
And to contribute more.
Exactly. To contribute, to grow, to live a really expansive life. It's not just about hoarding gold coins.
So, okay, let's jump into that first big idea. The certain way of thinking.
All right. A certain way of thinking. So Wattles starts off pretty bold here.
Oh.
He basically says getting rich isn't like winning the lottery or being born with the silver spoon.
Nope, not luck, not chance.
He calls it a science, like, chemistry or baking bread. There are actual rules, principles involved.
Specific laws, he says. Laws governing how you acquire wealth. And if you learn them and apply them, getting rich becomes, and I love this phrase,
What is it?
mathematical certainty.
Mathematical certainty. Okay, that sounds way better than my current strategy, which is mostly just crossing my fingers.
Right, and what's cool is how fast he kind of knocks down the usual excuses, like your environment. He says that's not the main thing.
How so?
Well, think about it. You see people struggling financially right next door to people who are thriving. Sometimes in the exact same town, even the same profession.
Yeah, that's true. You see that all the time. So it proves it's not just about your location or, the obvious opportunities around you.
Right, it kind of busts that whole myth
Yeah.
that you're stuck if you weren't born in the right place. And he does the same thing with talent, right?
Mhm.
And even like extreme saving.
He does. He points out super talented people who are broke and then other people who spend freely but somehow end up wealthy.
It's almost like he's saying, forget the usual rules. It's a bit rebellious.
It kind of is. So, okay, if it's not your location, not just raw talent, not being incredibly frugal, then what is the secret ingredient?
Yeah, it's the sauce.
This is where it gets a little cosmic. He introduces his first principle,
Right.
thought. He says thought is the only power that can produce tangible riches from what he calls formless substance.
Formless substance. Okay, deep breath. Let's unpack that. Sounds a bit sci-fi.
Slight chuckle. It does. But the way he explains it, it's like this underlying universal thinking stuff that everything is made of, like the raw potential of the universe.
Okay, like cosmic Play-Doh.
Kind of. And he says when this substance thinks of a form, say, a tree, it becomes a tree. Our thoughts, then, are like the instructions, the blueprints we impress upon it.
So we, as thinking beings, can impress our thoughts onto this stuff
Yeah.
and start the creation process.
That's the core idea. Our focused thought has creative power.
Wow. Okay, so if I'm constantly picturing myself, I don't know, finally getting that dream job or launching that business, that thought actually has some kind of creative energy behind it, according to Wattles.
That's precisely his point. But there's a really big but.
Knew there'd be a catch.
You have to practice thinking truth regardless of appearances.
Regardless of appearances, what does that mean? Like, ignore reality?
Sort of. He means the world around you might be showing you lack. You see bills, you hear bad news, your car breaks down.
Yeah, the usual Monday morning.
Right. But Waddle says you need to hold firm to the truth of underlying abundance. The fact that there is enough, this formless substance is infinite, even if your current reality seems to scream the opposite.
Okay, that sounds hard. Like trying to convince yourself it's sunny during a thunderstorm, especially when the thunder is your landlord asking for rent.
Chuckles. It definitely takes mental muscle. He admits it requires effort, real discipline. He even has a term for someone who masters this.
Which is,
A mastermind, someone who can tune out the negative appearances and keep their focus locked on the abundant reality they want to create.
okay, so boiling all that down, the first practical step from insight number 1.
It really starts with belief. You have to genuinely accept, or at least be willing to test, this idea that your thoughts have creative power.
Okay, believe it's possible.
And then consciously choose to focus those thoughts on what you want, abundance, success, health, rather than getting stuck thinking about what you lack. It's about actively redirecting your mental energy.
Retraining the brain, basically.
Exactly. And that actually leads us perfectly into the second big insight,
Which is?
the importance of gratitude and increase.
Gratitude. Okay, we hear that word a lot these days, don't we? Gratitude journals, count your blessings.
We do. But Wattles connects it directly to this whole getting rich science in a very specific, almost mechanical way.
Mechanical. How so?
He says gratitude literally harmonizes us, it tunes us in to this formless intelligence, the source of everything, like finding the right frequency on a radio.
Okay, so if you're not grateful,
If you fail to appreciate what you already have, you basically disrupt that connection. You lose the signal. He uses this really strong image of cutting the wires.
yikes, don't want to cut the abundance wire. So
All right.
it's more than just saying a quick thanks for, like, finding a good parking spot.
It goes much deeper. He talks about a law of gratitude. Think Newton's third law, action and reaction.
Yeah.
The more genuine gratitude you put out, the more positive energy you radiate, the more good things are drawn back to you. It's cause and effect. He even mentions Jesus' attitude of constant gratitude as a prime example.
That's fascinating. Linking gratitude to a universal law like that. So it's not just about feeling good, it's an active force.
That's how he frames it. And it's not just about attracting future good stuff either. Gratitude also anchors you in the present.
Oh.
It stops you from getting stuck in dissatisfaction, constantly wanting what you don't have. By focusing on the good, the best you already experience, your mind naturally orients towards more of the best. It helps you become your best self.
Okay, so gratitude is like the cosmic connection booster. Got it. Now, what about this increase part? Sounds a bit corporate, like increase profits.
Yeah, not quite like a business report. This is more fundamental. Wattles argues that all life, everything in the universe, inherently seeks to increase, to expand, to express more.
Like a plant growing towards the sun.
Exactly like that. And our desire for more wealth. He reframes that. It's not greed, he says. It's that same natural life force within us pushing for fuller expression, for a bigger, richer life experience.
That feels better, less guilty maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to want more because it's part of being alive.
That's his perspective. It's the desire for growth.
Yeah.
But how does this translate into actual money, actual resources?
Yeah, the practical bit.
This is absolutely key, and it brings in a strong ethical component. Waddle says you must always aim to give more in use value than you receive in cash value.
Use value versus cash value. Explain that.
Okay, think about this deep dive we're doing. The cash value is, well, zero. It's free. But if these ideas genuinely help someone change their life, improve their finances, the use value they receive is immense, right? Far more than zero.
Gotcha. So it's about the actual benefit someone gets, not just the price tag.
Precisely. He gives this slightly odd example about trading art versus a tool with an Eskimo for furs.
Right. The art had no use value for the Eskimo, even if it was worth money elsewhere. But a gun that helped them live better had huge use value.
Exactly. So the gun trade was a good exchange, contributing to increase for both sides. The art trade wasn't. Wattles pushes us to constantly think, am I genuinely adding value? Am I helping others increase?
And that leads to his idea of the advancing man or woman.
Yes. Someone who carries this impression of increase with them, when people interact with you, they should feel like they gain something, like they're better off for the interaction. You uplift them.
So it's not about hard bargaining or trying to get the best deal for yourself all the time.
Quite the opposite. It's about creating win-wins, focusing on mutual benefit, making the pie bigger for everyone, not just fighting for your slice.
That feels surprisingly modern and, yeah, wholesome for a book from 1910 about getting rich.
Doesn't it? He really saw abundance as something you create collaboratively, not something you fight over. Okay, that sets us up nicely for the third and final insight, acting in the certain way.
Right, because all this thinking and feeling grateful is great, but I assume Wattles doesn't just say, okay, now meditate on your yacht until it appears, right?
Chuckles. Definitely not. Action is crucial. He makes that very clear. Thinking sets the direction, gratitude tunes the connection, but action is how you actually receive.
This is where maybe some manifestation ideas fall short sometimes.
Huh.
People forget the doing part.
That's often the missing link, yeah. Waddle says your thought gets the creative forces working, bringing opportunities towards you. But you need to act physically to grab those opportunities when they show up.
So my amazing vision board of that tropical beach house won't do much if I'm just binge watching shows all day.
Probably not going to cut it. You need to be acting, moving, engaging with the world so you're in the right place mentally and physically to receive what's coming.
It's like ordering something online. You thought about it, you paid, gratitude, but you still need to be home to accept the package when it arrives.
Perfect analogy. And critically, Waddle stresses acting now, not tomorrow, not when things are perfect. Act in your current role, your current environment, with whatever resources you have right now.
Oof, that hits home. No more, I'll start my business plan when I have more time, or I'll apply for that promotion when I feel 100% ready.
Exactly that. He warns against postponing action or worrying about future emergencies. That divides your energy. He says act now and do it with your whole mind.
Whole mind, meaning fully focused on the task at hand.
Yes. And here's another layer. It's not just about doing a lot of things. It's about the efficiency of each act. Quality over quantity.
Okay, how do we make actions efficient in the Wattles way?
Every single action, even seemingly small ones, should be done with your overall vision clear in your mind, with faith that it's leading you forward and with purpose.
So even if I'm just answering emails, I should be doing it with the intention of, say, building better relationships or creating clarity aligned with my bigger goals, not just frantically clearing the inbox.
That's the spirit. Infuse even mundane tasks with your intention. Make every action a success in itself. And he brings back that idea of creation versus competition here, too.
Right. Don't try to beat others. Just focus on creating.
Exactly. Trying to dominate or take from others comes from that scarcity mindset, the limited pie idea. It actually hinders your own progress in the long run. He quotes this guy, Golden Rule Jones.
What did he say?
What I want for myself, I want for everybody. It's about lifting everyone up.
That really ties it all together. The thinking, the gratitude, the value exchange, the action. It's all about creating more abundance, not just for you, but flowing outwards.
Beautifully put. And while Wattles does say, yeah, it helps if your work aligns with your talents, he strongly believes you can get rich in pretty much any line of work if you consistently apply this certain way of thinking and acting.
So you don't necessarily need to quit your job tomorrow. You can start applying this right where you are.
That's his message. Growth happens from where you are now.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground from a book over 100 years old. Maybe a quick recap.
Good idea. Let's nail down the big three.
All right. Insight 1. The certain way of thinking. Recognizing thought as creative power. Focusing on abundance. Thinking truth despite appearances.
Got it.
Insight 2. Gratitude and increase. Using gratitude to connect with the source and always aiming to give more in use value than you get in cash value, contributing to life's expansion.
Makes sense. And 3. Acting in the certain way. Taking decisive, efficient action now in your current situation, infused with your vision and purpose, focusing on creation, not competition.
And the big promise underlying all this.
Wattles is pretty uncompromising on this. He says if you truly do these things consistently, getting rich isn't just likely, it's a mathematical certainty.
Which is incredibly empowering, really. It puts the control back in your hands, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's about consciously creating the life you want, a life of greater abundance, fulfillment, and freedom. So, for everyone listening, maybe just sit with these ideas for a bit.
Yeah, let them percolate. How could you maybe start thinking, feeling, or acting just a little bit differently, starting today?
Maybe listen again, or hey, even track down a copy of The Science of Getting Rich itself. There's definitely more detail in there.
For sure. And maybe one final thought to leave everyone with.
Go for it.
What if the main thing holding you back isn't your boss, or the economy, or your past, but just the way you're choosing to use your thoughts and direct your actions right here, right now? Could this moment, approached in the certain way, be the actual turning point?
Deep thoughts to end on. Food for thought indeed.